Hello, with this session we are going to discuss about chemical reaction. What is chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is a process by which one or more substances undergo a chemical change to produce one or more different substances. It means whenever any process is occur in which one or more substances which is considered as reactant, they take a part and they allow to produce one or more different substances which is called as product. Such kind of process is considered as chemical reaction. In simple representation of chemical reaction, you can see here the reactant part is always mentioned at left hand side and the product parts are always mentioned at right hand side. And this arrows it shows in which direction the chemical process is going to move on. Whenever reactant allowed to take a part in reaction, that allow to block their chemical bond and allow to form new bonds. Due to that, the product which form during reaction, they have a complete different chemical identity. Now I will show you some more examples of chemical reaction which occur in our everyday life, like making of curd, which called curdling, in which the lactose and water they are work as reactant here and they allow to convert into lactic acid to make curd by the milk. So you can see here the lactose and water are reactant and lactic acid is our product. And on the basis of their chemical identity, if you observe, both have different nature. So this is a simple representation of chemical reaction in which you can see that reactants mentioned at left hand side and the products mentioned as right hand side, and both are completely different on the basis of their chemical identity. Like one more reactions here, the photosynthesis in plant. Plant doing photosynthesis for making their food, in which carbon dioxide, water, solar energy, and the chlorophyll are included as reactant. And when all these things are get react each other, they allow to convert into product in the form of glucose and oxygen. So glucose is work as a food for plant, and oxygen is gas which release in atmosphere. So you can see here all the reactants are completely have a different nature as compared to the product which form during reaction. The next one like burning of wood. It's like a combustion reaction. Whenever any fuel is going to be burned, it need oxygen. So when the fuel get burned in the presence of oxygen, it will release carbon dioxide, water vapor, ash and the heat. So you can see here that the completely have different nature of reactant as compared to the product which is formed during the chemical reaction happen. Now the next one, the food digestion. That is also a daily life process which occur in our body. Whenever we are eating food, it have some kind of complex nutrient like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins. So to digest this kind of the complex nutrients, we need to perform so many chemical reaction in our body. Like for example, digestion of glucose, digestion of protein, digestion of fats, and more than that. Whenever such kind of reactions has happen, like glucose is get digested in the presence of oxygen, it get convert into water and carbon dioxide. Same as when the protein is going to be digested in need of enzyme that is work as pepsin enzyme. In the presence of pepsin enzyme, the protein gets divided into the unit part that's considered amino acid. Next one, that when the food fat get digested in the presence of lipase enzyme, is get converted into glycerol and the fatty acid. The next one is rusting of iron. That is everybody's day in our life. That iron, whenever in the presence of oxygen, is become in contact of water or water vapor or moisture, it can convert into rust because the iron get oxidized in the presence of water and the oxygen, and its completely chemical property and nature is get different as compared to the complete earlier iron we have. So this is considered as a simple chemical reaction in which the reactant which take a part in process they convert into product, and for that they need to broken their chemical bonds and they allow to form new bonds. That's why the nature of reactant and product is completely different from each other. So such kind of reactions are a normal example of chemical reaction. With this note, we conclude this session. We'll continue in the next session for the next one. Thank you.